Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today we're going to make a quick little 6x6 card using the From Lizi October 2023 card kit, and this kit is called Better Together. I leave links to the kit, the subscription and other links to Lizi's website down below. I have everything out here that we're going to need to make this card. I'm also going to use some stamps from my stash for this, and I have already stamped a few bits. So let's start with having a look at our card base. Our card base is a 6x6 card base, and if you want to make one yourself, if you don't have a shop bought one, then you'll need a piece of 12x6 and score at 6. I have this pink piece of cardstock from my stash, and this measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and on top of that I'm going to put a white piece of cardstock, and this one measures 5 5/8 by 5 5/8. I'll have the measurements to everything down below in the description, so don't worry about getting the measurements now. They're down in the description for you. I have a piece of ribbon. This ribbon came in the kit, so I have a nice piece of that. I'm going to wrap that around our white panel. I've taken 2 of the skinny banners that we got. These are fishtail banners. We got these in the kit, and some of them are plain like this one, and some of them have images on them like this one. I didn't want to use the image. I wanted to keep the color tone matching along with this larger fishtail banner, which also came in the kit, and I loved the 3 little kittens. So on this one, I hope you can see that the camera might pick it up. I've used some accent glaze from my stash in their little ears, on their little cheeks, and on the flowers, just the center of the flowers. And I put a little bit of accent glaze as well on the leaves. It just kind of draws your eye in. It's very subtle, but I do like it. I think it gives a little bit of definition to it. I've also added some foam tape on the back of my fishtail banner because I do like a bit of dimension, but you don't have to add that onto the back of yours if you don't want to. I'm going to embellish this card using these really cool butterfly black shiny Peeloffs from From Lizi, and I'll leave a link to the Peeloffs. Lizi does a fantastic selection of Peeloffs. Now these will not only give you this fabulous banner that you can use, but you've also got the little inset butterflies as well that you can use. So we have long strips here and shorter strips too. So I'm gonna, pretty up the front with some butterflies. I also wanted to share with you this. This is a stamp set. It's from my stash. I got it in a magazine. I think it was Creative Stamping magazine. It's a while ago, but I love this, and whenever I'm doing anything animal themed, I tend to reach for this. There's some great sentiments on it, and for this one I'm going to stamp the Sorry You're Feeling Rough. You can see there I've stamped the Sending a Fluffy Hug, and that came from a different stamp set, and that's this one here. This one is the Battersea Festive Friends. Now it came in with dogs, and it also has one all about cats, and it's quite a Christmassy one. This was from Creative Stamping issue 114. So yeah, I used the Sending a Fluffy Hug here, and I actually cut this stamp apart so I could stamp it in 2 different pieces there. So that's all our pieces. What I want to focus on now first is this piece of white cardstock. I'm going to move this all out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my scoring board, and we're going to embellish this panel using our scoring board. Now if you have an embossing folder, you could use this, but if you don't have an embossing folder, well, here's a handy tip for you. And what you can do is using either the tool that comes with your scoring board, or I like to use a metal stylus. You can score down along this every 1/4 of an inch. You could do it every 1/2 an inch, every 1/8 of an inch. Oops, I just jumped the track. The whole way across. Now, I jumped the track and I have a little score line there. If you want to get rid of that, turn it over and very gently go over that line that you've done. And when you turn it back over, you'll see that your score line is hardly visible at all. So I'm going to continue on now, scoring this every 1/4 of an inch, nice and carefully. So there we go. There is our embossed panel using our scoreboard. Now, the next thing I want to do before I assemble my card is stamp my greeting on the inside. So let's do that together. So I have my card base in my stamping platform. I have my stamps already and waiting to go. I've used a sentiment, sorry you're feeling rough, and I've also used one of the little it's like a ball of wool, and again that is from this stamp set that I had in my stash, but you can use whatever stamps that you have that'll work for you. So I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I find the VersaFine Clair ink is a very good ink if you're doing stamped sentiments or anything with a lot of detail in it. They really do stamp beautifully. So I'll pop this down. Make sure to prep your stamps. In other words, give them a little cleaning to take off the residue that's left on them when they've been processed or manufactured. Sometimes when you don't do that, you'll see pooling of the ink on your stamp, and that's generally the cause for that. So as I press down and the ink goes down, I hold it for a couple of seconds. I don't just push down and lift up. Allow the ink to transfer. When you lift up your stamping platform, you should see all the ink is actually gone off your stamp set. There should be maybe a very light, a ghosting of the ink left in there, and that way you'll know you've got a pretty good stamping. So that's the inside of my card done. Now let's go ahead and assemble our card together. So I'm going to glue down my white panel to the pink panel and that onto my card base. And to do that, I'm using some Collal glue. This is the Collal glue. I've decanted it into my bottle. It's a little bit messy. So I'll just clean up the tip and then I can glue down my embossed panel. So now I'm going to add my little fishtail banner. I want to just see where I'm going to pop these. Sending, and I want one a little bit further out than the other. Yeah, about there. Actually, I might bring this over here and then put those there like that. Yeah, I like the layout of that. Okay, so I'm going to stick down my sending first. And again, I'm going to use my Collal glue because it's out on the table, but you could use your quick grab glue if you wanted. So I'll pop that there. And we'll try and make sure it's straight. And then I'll put the fluffy hug down next. That looks good. And then my panel can go there like that. Lovely. So I'll take off my foam tape release paper. And what I like to do when I do this is I like to add a little bit of the liquid glue onto the foams. And the reason I do this is because it'll give me, again, a little bit of wiggle room, especially with some foam can be very sticky. So once it touches a surface, that can be it. The ones I'm using here, they do give me a little bit of wiggle room, but I like the fact then that I've got the sticky on the foam tab, so once it's in place, it's down. So we'll pop that down there, and I'm going to use the score line there as a guide, so I'll know I have it relatively straight. So I'm just adding a little pressure onto that. And now we can embellish it using our pretty little butterflies on our peel-offs. I'm going to add one to the inside, and that just ties what's going on the outside inside our card. So I'll put a little butterfly there. Sorry you're feeling rough. And I've also got one of the little footprints from the stamp set that I'm using, that Furry Friends. I'm going to actually pull in a couple of footprints from the ball of wool. So I'll bring back out my VersaFine Clear ink, and I'm just going to pop a couple of footprints, like as if they're walking away from the ball of wool. We'll just have it going off the card there, as if our little cat or kitten has just walked away from our ball of wool. So that is our card today, our 6x6 fluffy hug card, and we've used some of the products from the Love from Lizi October 2023 kit called Better Together. We used the banners, and we've used our scoreboard as well to give us a nice background. And I hope you've enjoyed my card. If you have, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and ding the bell so you'll be notified next time I post a video. You can share your card that you make on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts, as well as Lizi's Facebook group. You can find links to everything down below, as well as the measurements for this card. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a crafty day, and until next time, see you again soon. Bye bye.